So thanks so much for having me today. I'm going to touch a little bit more on kind of the value of branded integration inside of gaming. So we'll just start off here quickly. Uh, quick history of myself. I've been loving the video game industry for many years. Found my first job at Nintendo many years ago, back in the 90s. But really kind of found my stride post college in Microsoft Xbox as well as Motiga, and now I've been with Hi-Rez Studios the last 4.5 years or so. Hi-Rez Studios, it has 6 locations at this point. We actually just announced Creative Unchained, which is the opportunity for anyone located in the UK or the US, regardless of your location, to potentially become part of our studio. We're kind of opening up the opportunity to work from anywhere in the video game industry, as we've noticed that during COVID over the last year, we've been able to continue publishing updates and work through brand new game launches, all from the comfort of our own homes. So why not continue that into the future and look for the best talent wherever they are? Just a quick synopsis of what we do. Right now, we're running 4 live service ops games. We are a live service ops company. What does that mean? Is a good question. We run games as a service games, free to play games, constantly updated games that continue on for years and years. So on this screen, you see Smite, which we'll talk a little bit more about later on in the presentation, but it's in its 9th year of life. Paladins is running on year 4, Realm Royale year 3, and Rogue Company is just finishing up its first year right now. So I wanted to kind of start by prefacing this conversation around Once Upon a Time in Smite. Like I mentioned, Smite's been around 9 years. We are in the 8th year of esports, the 8th year of monetized operation, and we're coming off the best year we've ever had. And we have a mantra at Hi-Rez of Smite's best days are still ahead of it. So the game launched in 2012. We actually showed 41% growth year over year between 2019 and 2020, and we're actually already beating 2020's revenue and user numbers in 2021 so far. Smite's been played by more than 40 million players worldwide, and it's released on 5 platforms, 2 different PC stores, Epic and Steam, as well as Xbox One, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. And we run one of the top esports in the world outside of the Riots, Activisions, and Dotas. We have a pretty vibrant and healthy community on Twitch and YouTube for Smite esports. But today, the question becomes, how do we integrate brands and talk through opportunity to bring together collaboration? 2 of the collaborations that we've done in the past year really helped catapult Smite back into the eye of the public. And we did this with linear media IP integration, both with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Nickelodeon, Avatar: The Last Airbender, both with Nickelodeon. And it's really interesting what we've done over the last year. We don't necessarily think directly about ROI, but we really think about new user acquisition and how it will impact the player base for the coming years. So the IP integration we do spans all sorts of different opportunities. We like to license the music. We like to license, obviously, the characters. We build designs. And both of these integrations took more than 6 months internally and hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop. Not only did we develop the characters for in-game play and build a story arc around why they're integrating with our game in integrating into our storyline, but we also take the time to think through the art style and the way that would best showcase their brand. I'm going to show one of these videos here just to give you kind of a glimpse. We took Avatar and we actually built this trailer in-house, and this trailer was done so that we could showcase how and why Aang was coming to the aid of Smite. Now,
world is in trouble.
We can't let this happen. They need our help.
Cool. Now, the way we think about brand integration and a lot of the questions I'm seeing come up in the Q&A really revolve around, how do you think about interacting with a company? How do you think about merging brands together? Do we think through it from a moral perspective? Do we think through it through a brand integration perspective, looking for mutual synergies? Really, if we think back to Avatar and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we use a lot of analytics. So we look at Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and we try to understand what's happening with our users. So the users that play the game and the users that maybe watch other shows or interact with other IPs or content, we're looking for those synergies, and we're having those conversations so that we can spend the time to integrate with things that we think will be mutually beneficial for both parties. We really like to kind of up and amp up the authenticity of the integration. So not only are we looking for fans that are fans of both Smite and the linear IP we're working with, but also that we're doing justice to the IP. There's a lot of other fantastic companies in the UK, like the Warhammer crew at Games Workshop, that have integrated with a lot of other games and linear IPs in the world, and they've done some absolutely incredible activations. So we're not the only ones doing this, but we're really taking the time and the effort to really distill down and build out engaging content for people to consume. And a really interesting kind of proof or data touch point, when we integrated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into Smite back in November, and then we updated the box art for Smite to include the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters, we actually saw 100% increase or uplift in our new user engagement, new user acquisition. And we brought significantly more players in the door for those 3 months that we were integrating with Nickelodeon and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles than we would have doing our own battle pass with our own IP. So not only do we think about this as an opportunity to drive meaningful revenue for both ourselves and our partners, we're also thinking about how does the partner drive new user engagement or maybe increase the voice and share of new users coming into our funnel and our game. So we really think about it in multiple ways, and not only are we thinking about the money aspect, but we definitely are looking at players, because once those players come in the door, there's a lot more opportunities to monetize them and keep them within the community and grow them over time. I know next week you're really going to kind of jump into esports and how brands can integrate with esports, but I'm going to touch quickly on that as we just kicked off Smite Pro League Season 8 just this past weekend. We actually have a pretty fantastic sponsorship, title level sponsorship with an endemic brand being Alienware, who's outfitted all of our players and our casters and our production studio with Alienware PCs, keyboards, mice, headsets, and monitors. But really the last piece and slightly more interesting integration we have right now is with a fantastic company called Simulmedia. And we're actually testing and building out a strategy for in-game advertising. Now, this isn't your standard mobile in-game advertising, advertising other games, just trying to get you to download and look through that. This is linear, like TV level advertising. This is this would be commercials for things like the Premier League or the newest Marvel movie coming out, or chips, or Coke products, etc. These are multi-billion-dollar industrial companies that are looking to advertise to that user base. And this kind of goes hand in hand with things that have been said earlier today, where the newest Gen Z are not looking to watch TV, but really we still want, as advertisers, to advertise to those users. And this is a great way to continue to advertise to them on the big screen in their house, on their TV. Someone had mentioned in the Q&A section as well, how do you think about advertising? And there are some issues around games that are pay to play having advertising built into them. That's definitely a bit of a sore subject right now, and users aren't overly interested in the way that those happen. But in the free-to-play space, we've actually gamified the viewing of in-game ads. So we've actually built out an entire in-game loop, which gives you rewards for watching advertisements. And by taking the advertisement revenue with significantly high CPMs for viewership, we're able to give out a lot of fantastic content to our end user. And we kind of have it as tiered rewards over time. So you'll get an instant reward every time you watch an in-game ad, but as you accumulate ads, and that picture is obviously very hard to see, but it's 1 to 25 and it's 1 to 50, I believe, or 1 to 150. You'll get to the point where after you've watched a certain amount of ads over a period of time, you'll actually get $6, $7, $8, and even $9 of content for viewing those ads, and obviously that's offset by the revenue we're bringing in as an advertising from the advertisements as well. So we think of in-game advertising and bringing in brands as an authentic way and another revenue stream, honestly, for free-to-play games as we head into the future, where a lot of these media agencies and brands are looking to continue to show ads to those big TV screens, but they can't have them on standard commercials on TV. Obviously, though, you'll get into this a lot more next week around sponsorships for esports. But we're vertically integrated. So we own Smite, we own our pro league, we own all 8 teams, and we own the advertising across all of it. So we have a lot of opportunities and thought processes around how sponsors can come in and work with us, and then also to double down and leverage into the Twitch viewership for their brand, whether it's product placement or whether it's sponsorship advertising or endemic, non-endemic, it doesn't matter. There's opportunities to be involved. There's opportunities to drive high value for brands across esports that starts end to end. And when you start to layer in things like simul media as well as esports, you can start seeing how advertisers can start to become synonymous with brands in the game. So not only are you seeing it while you're watching Smite esports, but you're seeing it while you're playing Smite. So it's a really exciting time in the free-to-play and live service ops space here. So that's really all I had for you today. We've done, some other integrations more on the endemic side with Dr. Disrespect and 100 Thieves. But for now, I'd like to kind of stop here and see if there's any other questions from the group.
Thank you very much, Trevor. I have a question for you. So it's interesting that the business Hi-Rez, as you say, you run your own teams, you run your own leagues. You're a developer as well as the publisher of the games.
That's right.
It might be an awkward question, but at what stage in that sort of development process are you sitting there thinking, oh, that might be nice to get brands involved? I mean, is it core to the development process these days, or is it still something that is perhaps thought of afterwards?
Yeah, so if you think about it, we kind of run all the gamut of video games development, publishing, esports, etc. Object one and I'm sure every other game developer out there will attest to this, is let's make sure the game's fun and people want to play it and there's core loops and everything's up and running correctly. Let's start there. And as we start to gain traction, we start to gain that gaming insight, is really when we can start thinking about brand integration, as well as opportunities within the landscape. It's really hard to drive that kind of value for brands before you've proven the game has opportunity. So we really look at it, 6 to 18 months after launch, for those first integrations, especially on the non-endemic side.
Yeah. Well, the games you make are so complex and detailed. I mean, game comes first. I understand that makes perfect sense. I'm interested in the, we heard from Michael earlier. He didn't quite say this. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but games is the death of football. And then I'm again paraphrasing what you said. Games are replacing TV as a place for brands to advertise. I mean, I don't want us to kill off every other sector out there that we love dearly, but let's think about the last sort of 12 months when we've all been spending a little bit more time at home than normal. Have you seen a change in the way that perhaps brands are engaging with video game companies?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, because as we've spent more time at home over the last year, people are thinking more about, what is the loop of engaging, and it's significantly easier for a game company to engage a user over every way that they connect, right? Social media, they can be connected on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. They can have engagement in those videos on TikTok. They can have esports, or just straight people playing the game on Twitch or YouTube, that can lead to continued engagement within your ecosystem. And that continued engagement within your ecosystem then drives them back into the game for playing. So we're really seeing a core loop around gaming that encompasses everything of bringing the player out of the loop of playing into engaging on social, engaging on viewership, and then coming back in and playing the game again. So I think that's one of the major reasons why these brands are having opportunity to come into games and seeing a lot of value from it, is once those players are engaged in that core loop, they're there for a long time, and they're continuing to engage on a day-to-day basis. Whereas football or a TV show, maybe it comes out one time a week, and they have to be very cognizant of that one time to watch and interact. Whereas in gaming, it's a 24/7 endeavor. I can go watch it on YouTube. I can watch it on Twitch. I can interact on social media about my favorite game. I can go watch videos on TikTok. I can play the game as part of it as well. So as brands think about it, they should be thinking about it as an all-encompassing opportunity to engage the user multiple times. You're not just talking about an in-game product or brand activation. You're talking about social media engagement, and you're talking about building YouTube videos, and the core community of content creators are going to create content around the brand integration. So there's just a lot of opportunity to kind of hit multiple places in the player's life cycle that you don't normally get from static linear IP, or just viewing TV or sports.
I think that's a really nice note to end on, that sort of multiple engagement opportunities. Let's explore that as much as possible. Trevor, that's been an amazing talk. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
The event